Nice to have her back. Yeah, nice to have her back. Okay, we're up to the Mishnah on Chav Zayin. I'm at Aleph again. Very, very sadistic Gemaras. Very nice Gemaras. The Rabbi Eliezer Omer. Rabbi Eliezer says, "Arba esrei sudois chayiv adam lechol b'sukkah." There are 14 sudois a person's chayiv to eat b'sukkah. Achas b'yoyim v'achas b'layla. The Chacham Mayim ein l'davar kitzva. There's no set amount. Chutz me'leile yontef rishon shel chag bovad. With the exception of the first night of Sukkot. That's it. The first night of Sukkot, that would be what the only time. So says Rabbi Eliezer, you have to eat 2 meals a day in the Sukkah Pashtus. You have to eat 2 meals a day in the Sukkah. And the Chacham say no, one the only chiyuv is the first night. And we'll see the reasons in the Gemara. That's one machlokes. The second machlokes, Ba'oid Amar Rabbi Eliezer, another machlokes, Mishlei Achal Leila Yom Tov Harishon. Some who does not eat the first night, Yashlim Leila Yom Tov Achron. You're able to go ahead and be mashlim, make up the fact that you missed the first meal. You can make it up the Leil Yom Tov Achron, which is Shmini Atzeres. Leil Yom Tov Achron doesn't mean the 7th day; it means Shmini Atzeres. So you could able to make it up on Shmini Atzeres. Says Rabbi Yehuda, you could be mashlim you can be mashlim what you missed. You missed a chila. You could be mashlim it again. A second machlokes says. What? No leisha b'sukkah. No leisha b'sukkah. What? The question is, how can you be in a sukkah? It's a better question. It's such a good question. Maria said, "Ein ledava tashlumin." So there's no tashlumin. There's no tashlumin that you mix it, you blow it. So this is a case of what list going something that's crooked, you can't make straight. The chisrain, something's missing, can't be counted. Okay, so we have a machlokes in the Gemara, 2 machlokes in the Mishnah. First machlokes is what? How many is the chiyuv to eat? Is the chiyuv what? Is the chiyuv every 2 a day or 1 period? The second machlokes is there didn't tashlumin for that one time you're supposed to eat. So my time of Rebbe Eliezer. What's the reason the Rebbe Eliezer that you need 14 meals? Says the Gemara, Teshuvah came to duru. You're supposed to go ahead and live in the sukkah like you live in your house. Madira achas b'yom achas b'layla. Just like a deer, you have 2 meals a day. Obviously, it's not America, right? You have 2 meals a day. Af sukkah achas b'yoyim v'achas b'layla. So to sukkah one in the evening and 1 in the day. So sukkah is emulating the way we live in a house. You have 2 meals in the house. You have 2 meals one in the sukkah. For Rabbanan who say only 1, kedira like a dira. Madira iboy achal iboy loy achal. If you can't eat or you could eat. Af sukkah nami iboy achal iboy loy achal. So the question is like the Chachamim. So why is there any chiyuv at all? If you're telling me it's optional to eat, and therefore you don't have a chiyuv all 7 days of Sukkot, so why is there a chiyuv the first night? Question like the Chachamim, right? They say in the kissa rak the first night. So why, if you have a choice to eat the whole yontif, why is the first night mandatory? So I'm Rabbi Yochanan, Mishum Rabbi Shimon Yitzaddik. This Gezeirah Shav is right up there, guys, with some of the more famous ones, right? For some reason, even before I kicha Mr. Ephraim summer, you know, right? Right, kicha, right? That was where kicha. Everyone knows kicha. No. It's early. It's like the first day of yeshiva, so you're gonna learn this year, right? The first day of yeshiva, I'm gonna learn this year. So kicha Mr. Ephraim, and a little more sophisticated law meisha, and there is tesvav. This is guys tesvav. Never kan chamisha asa. It says what there by Pesach, it says Chamisha Asa, the 15th day of Nisan. V'nema Chamisha Asa b'Chag. Excuse me. Nema Kam Chamisha Asa by Sukkot. V'nema Chamisha Asa b'Chag Hamatzos. Ma'ala Halon Chag Hamatzos Leila Yarishain Chayva Mikan ve'elach Rishus. Afkan Leila Yarishain Chayva Mikan ve'elach Rishus. So we know that the first night is a chiyuv to eat matzah. After that, what? There's no chiyuv. You don't have to eat. But Vilna says there's a mitzvah you do eat, but there's no chiyuv to eat. So too, by Sukkah, the same way. By Sukkah, in addition to Sukkah, there's a mitzvah. The first night of Sukkah is to eat in the Sukkah. Right. Says how do you know over there there's a mitzvah to eat what? Matzah. On Makor, the pasuk says, the erev tochlu matzahs. The erev in the evening you should eat matzahs. Hakosiv kavei achayva. The pasuk is kavei achayv. Okay, we'll elaborate upon this in a second. Okay, guys. Now, your Sukkot. Do you have a Shabbos in there? Got to have, right? Good. Yeah, 7 days, right? So you do the math. right? Like Rabbi Yehuda, like Rabbi Eliezer, how many meals should you have? 15. Shalashudas. The 2 a days, and then Shabbos, Shalashudas. You should have 15. Yeah? Huh? So let's stay with it. Anyway, so listen to the guys, listen to the Geschmack Pshat. My son shares me with the Cheshek Shlomo. Sully Bornstein brought it in from later from the Rabbi Margolis. But the Cheshek Shlomo says beautiful Pshat, and it's so meduyik. Rabbi Eliezer is not coming to disagree on the first night. He's coming in addition to the first night. Additional, in other words, Zichah the first night, Chiv, right? In addition, you have another 14, which is a total of 15. What's his raya? Guys, when does Yom Tov begin? Day or night? Night, yeah? So look at Lashon of the Mishnah, guys. Rabbi Eliezer Oima, Arba Esim Sudas Chayiv Adon Lechem Besuda, Achas what? The Achas Balayla. It should say Achas Balayla Achas Bayoim. If you're only starting the first night, you should start with the night. Why are you starting with the day? Because the night is ungenommen, you're going to go ahead and eat. There's no machlokes in that. The 14 is Achas Bayoim, the Achas Balayla. Zeg Geshmakadiyah, no? Zeg Geshmakadiyah. You're sitting with Sukkah 7 days. What? All these are fulfilled. All these are fulfilled. It's not a stira at all. This is such a geshmakadiyuk that again it should say achas b'layla v'achas b'yom because you're beginning sukkahs at the night. Why does it achas? Because the night is ungenomen, right? None of that additional lot 14. So that would be a very, very, very nice pshat. So tesvav. Ad kedei kach, guys. Tesvav. Right? I'm going to see what exactly is the limit of tesvav. Is it just teaching me that you have to eat the first night, or is it teaching me you have to eat in the sukkah the first night? In other words, when you learn tesvav, obviously you're not eating matzah on sukkahs, but you could say, just like the mitzvah of Pesach is matzah, the mitzvah of sukkah is eating in a sukkah. Or no, the mitzvah is to eat. Right? The mitzvah is to eat. And I have to eat in the sukkah. That's a sukkah sticker then. I have a mitzvah to eat. Just like a mitzvah matzah, there's a mitzvah to eat. I eat sukkah, meaning there's a mitzvah to eat, but I can't eat out of the sukkah. But that is a mitzvah to eat in the sukkah. Again, listen to the diak, guys. Listen. I know your ways, your mind's working, but listen to the diak. Because I'm sure it's a machlokes. I have backing over here. I have that. No, not many. A little more cheese than that. In other words, you wanted to say is a chiyuv to eat the first night. That was the Gemara asked. How do you know you have to eat the first night? How do you know? After all, if Shuvah came to do, how do you have to eat the first night? So we're going to go ahead and compare it to Pesach. Now, Pesach, there's 2 things. To what extent I'm eating? But I'm eating what? Matzah. That must be the mitzvah over there. And therefore, the Tesvav will teach me there's a mitzvah I have to eat in the sukkah, meaning it's one chelik, it's one thing. I have to eat in the sukkah, just like I have to eat matzah. Guys, you with me? Don't fall asleep on me. Now, there's another way to look at it. It's not teaching me, it's teaching me I have to eat. It's teaching me I have to eat, right? I have to eat. However, on sukkahs, there's a halacha, I can't eat anywhere else but in the sukkah. But I don't know that from what? From tesvav. I know that from what? There's a mitzvah in sukkah. Those are 2 ways to look at it. And we're going to see it's a very nice chilik, okay?
But going further. But they're just like the matzah you have to eat because I used to right away.
1,000%. We're going to see that.
In Pesach.
Again, tesvav. That's all. Good. Says the Gemara. Okay. Says the Gemara. The Oid Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi says something else. Rabbi Eliezer. Arba esrei suda is chayav adam lechel b'sukkah. Achas b'yom v'achas b'layla. Guys, this is the kasha. Guys, Rabbi Eliezer said another din. What's his din? Guys, what's his din? That there's a din of tashlumin, yeah? There's a din of tashlumin, right? There's a din of tashlumin. Says, but I have to eat what? 14 meals. Says Rashi, guys, very important. Look at Rashi. From Rabbi Eliezer, Yudal Sudas Chayvan and Lechel B'Sukkah. The Kivin de B'Yoim Achroin. Loi B'Sukkah Yosviv, since on the last day. You're not in the Sukkah. Guys, where am I sitting, Leil Yom Shvi? I'm not talking about Chutz La'aretz where it's a Sveika D'Yoima. And I'm not talking getting into the Litfax with the Chasid, with the... No, again, you have one day Yontiv. In Eretz Yisrael, are you sitting in the Sukkah on Leil Yom? No, you're not. It's Shmini Atzeres. You're not sitting in the Sukkah, right? This is speaking in, and so therefore you're not sitting in the Sukkah. So now, I'm sitting in the Sukkah. I'm not sitting in the Sukkah. What am I doing? I'm eating what? I'm eating what? I'm eating my tashlumin for the first day. Says Rashi. The kivin de b'yoyim achron loy b'sukkah yosef v'im yoshev ba l'shem mitzvah over about Taisif. If you're going to sit in the sukkah, make me mashlim. You're about Taisif. My hashlama the sukkah ikahacha. What hashlama the sukkah is there over here? Now, the kasha and the half meaning of the Gemara is that you have to be mashlim, but you missed the first night in the sukkah. You need the same scenario. I missed the first night in the sukkah. My tashlumin has to be the first night in the sukkah. The last night in the sukkah, excuse me. I'm making up for my lost meal, like Rabbi Eliezer, right? Where was I supposed to be when I ate that meal? In the sukkah. I blew it. I didn't. I got to make it up. It's not it's not something that's crooked. That I can make it straight. But where do you have to make it straight? Ostensibly in the sukkah, yeah? But 1 second. It's Shmini Atzeres. You can't sit in a sukkah in Shmini Atzeres. That's Baal Taisif. That's the Gemara's kasha. See it again. It's very vague in the Gemara. Right? Taisif disagrees. I'm going to stay with Rashi because it's confusing. But look at the Gemara. Very the Markash kash. Says the Gemara. How could you say, guys, you're mashlim? So how can you make up a meal outside the sukkah that has to be inside the sukkah? That Rashi says if you would be in the sukkah, it'd be about Taisif.
But you're not doing it for the 14th. You're not doing it for the 7th day. You're doing it for the first day.
But again, I have no right being in the sukkah, but again,
but I'm not eating the sukkah for today.
It doesn't make a difference. I know it's not being mekayim mitzvah. No, it is a good kasha. It is a good kasha. L'chayra, you're not mekayim mitzvah. It's a good kasha. It's a good kasha. Right?
You're the only one.
I think it's a better. I think a better kasha is if you're doing a mitzvah, it's not about Taisif. If that's my mitzvah, it's not about Taisif. Why is a mitzvah? I'm being mashed the mitzvah. That meal's a mitzvah.
You can't do.
Why? I don't understand. What does Rabbi Eliezer say?
Exactly.
Again, that's the Rabbanon. Rabbi Eliezer says you're being mashed the mitzvah. I don't understand. Why are you doing it? For stomach, to fill your stomach?
No, you do it.
You do it. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Well, what are you doing? What are you? No, that's the Chachamim. This is Shittas Rabbi Eliezer.
What is everything about the mitzvah?
In other words, no, you can only sit in the sukkah for 7 days. You're in the sukkah on the 8th day. That's the Baal Taisif. That's the Baal Taisif. You only can be in the sukkah 7 days. You're in the sukkah on the 8th day. That's the Baal Taisif. So that's the Gemara's kasha.
Yeah. So you're assuming that Rabbi Eliezer holds that it has to be that night. Why can't it be a tashlim?
Look at the lashon, right?
After.
Yashlim Leila Yontiv Achron Shalchad. What does that mean?
Right.
There's something.
The Leil Yontiv Achron means Shmini Atzeres. That's so good. So we have a kasha, guys. Good. Amar Bira, that's a new name. Amar Bira, Amar Avami, Chazaba Rebbe Eliezer. Rebbe Eliezer changed his mind. Let's see, Rashi, guys, halt cup. Amar Bira, Shem Chacham, Chazaba Rebbe Eliezer. Here's the machlekes. Chazaba Rebbe Eliezer is Chachamim, Loimar, She'en L'Dav Kitzvah. It's true. In L'Dav Kitzvah, you don't have to have 14 meals. V'im Ratzelis Anais. And therefore, if you want not to eat, march the fast not, but if you choose not to, in other words, guys, when it says mis'an over here, it doesn't mean you can fast. It's you're not allowed to fast. It means you don't have to eat. You know, there's a difference between there's a difference between fasting and not eating, right? Good. Now, chutz milela yom tov arishon. But no, that's the only one you have to eat. Ubaham miya poligalayu. The kasavar yesh la tashlumin, guys, kimo sheyesh tashlumin l'karbonis. Just as like tashlumin for karbonis. Just like Kabbanis, you can go ahead and do it So too over here, you can go ahead and do it. Okay, so now, if he had charata from this, right? What's the kasha? What's that kasha, guys? How could he eat in the sukkah? So he had charata from the 14 days, right? Guys, he had charata from the 14 days? Yeah? Yeah, he did have charata from the 14 days, yeah? How's the answer to the kasha? Where's he eating this meal? In the sukkah. How's that kasha? It's all taisa. So how's the answer to the kasha?
You mean, once you do it on this?
And no, it's Mishlam, you tell me it's charata, that you don't have to be mashlim. Very good. That would take care of everything, right? So the fact that you did away with all the meals still doesn't answer the question. If you hold there's a meal to be made up, and that meal's in the sukkah, you still have the Baal Taisa problem. How did this Gemara answer the kasha?
If you don't have to, if you don't have to eat the 14 meals, do it the second day. If you have to, why wait?
Again, look at the lashon of the Mishnah, right? Yashlim Leila Yontiv Achman Shel Chag. That's when you make it up. Good.
But he had charata on
Again,
one.
that's when you make it up. So the kasha again. You hear?
No, what's the next name of Rashi? This is Yesh Tashlumin Likum.
Oh, hang in there. Okay, hang in there. Okay, hang in there. Okay, hang in there. Okay, so now there's a. Let's get the kasha and we'll get the teretz. Again, it's kedai, the whole guts of the sugyas here. Listen up. Rabbi Eliezer, we have a problem. Start this problem. Says Rabbi Eliezer simply the following. He says, listen, you got to eat 14 meals and you got to eat the last meal. If you miss the first one, you got to make it up. Afraid the Gemara, how can you eat it out of the sukkah? How can you eat it in the sukkah? It's all taisif. And the Gemara says, Rabbi Eliezer, great. You don't have to eat 14 meals. You're still eating in the sukkah. You didn't answer the question. That's the kasha. Okay. So now let's go look at where does Rabbi Eliezer know? What's the din of tesvav? What does it teach me? Okay. Once you have charata from teshuva came to duru, correct? Rabbi Eliezer is having charata from that, yeah? How did Rabbi Eliezer know 14 days, guys? Talk to me. Teshuva came to duru. 2 meals in the house, 2 meals there. That's off the table now, right? So how do you know you have to eat 1 meal? Where do you know that from? From Pesach, tesvav, right? If Pesach just teach me you have to eat, the Gezer Shav is just that you have to eat, not in the sukkah. In other words, that he says the Marshal, says Rav Shlomo Luria, says the Marshal, by going ahead and making tesvav, I'm off to Shuvat Kedura. I have to run from that. So now, if I have to run from that, all I have to do is eat 1 meal, like the Chachamim. That 1 meal we know from what? Tesvav. There's a chiyuv to eat. What's the chiyuv? Eat matzah. But again, we have a chakira. What are you learning out? That you just have to eat, or you just have to eat what? Or mamish eat in the sukkah. Says the Marshal. Guess what? You just have to eat. Where? Outside the sukkah. That's beautiful shot. Once you had charata, guys, from the 14 meals, it's beautiful. You're not limited to Shuvat and Keduru. I don't have to be in the sukkah anymore. If Tesvav only teaches me what? Eating. Says the Marsha, I don't like that. Says the Marsha, Tesvav teach me just like you have to eat what? Matzah. So too you have to eat in the sukkah. And therefore, he doesn't like the Marshal's question. But he says Rashi. What does Rashi say? Hershel asks, what's Rashi throwing in like Karbanis? Guys, listen up. Shvuas. You blow it the first day. You only got 1 day. You blow it. Is there a din tashlumin?
Yes.
7 days of tashlumin. When are you making this tashlumin? In Chayil. So you see, tashlumin doesn't have to mean what? Exactly like the mitzvah. That's why Rashi throws kabbanis in. So tesvav, you can learn out from matzah. But it doesn't have to be in the sukkah, because tashlumin doesn't have to be exact. Just like kabbanis, it doesn't have to be exact. That's the machloikis between the Marsha and the Marshal. Had a pshat in this piece of Gemara. You're very geschmack, right? You're very, very meduik. The Marsha is very meduik over here. Again, it's a big, nice lumpness over here. How do you look at tesvav? You know, to the right extent, and it's a beautiful, beautiful tesvav. Okay, I like the line. Okay, thanks for coming. So, guys, you have no idea. You ever know what you do for me? I get to yell at people at night, make fun of people at night, teach a little Torah along the way. It's geschmack as anything. Right? Someone said, what do you do for a living? I said, during the day, I yell at girls, and during the night, I make fun of boys. Yeah, I could hold my yard. Well, I think we can cover the others. Now, says the Gemara. Mashlim b'mai. Guys, why do you mashlim? Mashlim b'mai. Why do you mashlim? You know, the kasha is l'chayre. How do I know it's a tashlumin? You know, it's you're eating. How do you know it's tashlumin? Ilema beriftus, right? If you're eating bread, suda diyuma ka'achal. People are going to think it's a regular suda. You don't have something discerning. Elamai yashlim b'mini targima. You can go ahead and be mashlim with mini targima. Rashi says different types of desserts or things. It's mashlim. You know, the big kasha is, why don't you see the separate meal? People say, hey, what's going on here? You're eating a separate meal. Shmiyat says no three sudas. Why are you eating another suda? Right? Elamai, you see that it has to be. Rabbi Yashiv learns it has to be in the meal. The tashlumin has to be in the meal itself. Tanya nami hachi. Im hishlim mini tagima yatsa. Right? If you mashlim mini tagima yatsa. I said very good. Okay, let's chaz the river. We don't pass like this. You don't pass the tashlumin. There's no tashlumin. You blow it. We pass them. You blow it. That's why we're so makbid that first night to eat. Now, the Yankel brought in the tesvav. It's interesting, guys. What's the share of achilas aroy? What's the share of achilas aroy? We said either 2 eggs or 1 egg. Yeah, mashma achila kevis is more than that, right? Says the Rambam. It's a mitzvah to eat the first night of kazayas in the sukkah.
Right away, also the same.
But no. What's the kasha? The chayri is nothing much more than a kazayas, right? Elamah. You see that like the Marsha. You see, when you learn tesvav, you learn not only achila, it's achila like matzah. What's the share of matzah, guys? Kazayas. What's the share? Says the Rambam, the share, and brought down la halacha, the share is kazayas. So you see, also brought down, guys, you have to. Kashan Marshal. It's shver Marshal. Guys, another. We spoke about it. Listen to this. We all know Arei Pesachim, right? Mincha ve'elach, you're not supposed to eat. Right? Because you have to eat matzah b'tei oven. Brought down la halacha, erev sukkos, you're also not supposed to eat. So you should eat the kazayas b'tei oven. Because this is all the gzer shava tesvav. How about you take it?
You're supposed to eat it also kedei achilas press, no? In the sukkah also.
Yes. All these are halachas and tesvav. So, right? No, you have to lean. The save is a different thing, right?
The misshaf on the first day because you couldn't eat the sukkah. Now just make it the next day.
Again, you have to get that achila in the first night. It's like that's why we're so crazy with it. It's a different halacha of 7 days. It's all from this tesvav. It's a whole different gather. Right. That first night, that's why you get the kazayas in. It's like problem is you get the kazayas in, then it stops raining, then you got a problem. And it's the right there. Okay. Anyway, you have now a bunch of cases of Rabbi Eliezer, but very geschmacka chakira and how to view tesvav and nice Torah. Says Gemara, Shal apotropis shel Agrippus hamelech es Rabbi Eliezer. Apotropis was the apotropis of Agrippus. He was the servant, was something of Agrippus. And Agrippus was the last king of before Bias, Churban Bias. Esther Eliezer, Kigoin ani she'eni rogel lechol ela suda achas b'yoyim. I'm only rogel to eat suda achas by the day. Ma'u she'oichel suda achas ve'efter. What's the din of me eating 1 suda when I'll be pata? Now, obviously, he's asking Rabbi Eliezer before he had charata. Guys, obviously, he's asking Rabbi Eliezer before he had charata, because once he had charata, Rabbi Eliezer doesn't require you to eat more than 1 meal, right? But when he's asking him, obviously he must know that Rabbi Eliezer holds what? 2. Guys, 2:14, right? 2 a day. Where does Rabbi Eliezer know it from? Teshuva Kein Keduru. Just like 2 meals a day in the house, so too over here 2 meals. Yeah? Guys, Kushmak, right? So now he's asking him. Rabbi Eliezer told him, right? Many days you eat paparis to be mechaber yourself. You're always munching around, right? You're always munching around in the house. You're not going to munch around like this Baruch. I got 2 wives. Achas b'Tveria, achas b'Tzipuri. 1 in Tveria, 1 in Tzipuri. And I got 2 sukkos. Achas b'Tveria, achas b'Tzipuri. Ma'usha etzi misukah l'sukkah v'pater. I go and miyotza amaloi loy shani yomer kol yetzi misukah l'sukkah batel mitzvah shall be shiny. You hear this, guys? If you go from sukkah to sukkah, you even lost the mitzvah from the first one. Oh, thought it was the.
Stay in the same sukkah for the whole.
No. So listen what he told him. He this is such a geschmack of shot. He's asking him, I got 2 wives. I live with those 2 wives. And Rabbi Eliezer didn't have charata yet, right? He thinks it's teshuvah and keduduru. No, it's not. Forget the charata. He says, just like I live with these wives during the year, I should be yaitza my mitzvah sukkah in one and the other one. Good, that's what he says to him. But says Rabbi Eliezer back now, listen to this. Not only aren't you yaitza your second one, you lose your first one. Why is that? Batal mitzvah shall be shaina. He's asking teshuvah to do right. Tanya Rabbi Eliezer, you'll see why in a second. Tanya Rabbi Eliezer, ein yotzin misukkah lissukkah. You can't go from one sukkah to another sukkah. Says Rashi. Lechel bezu, liyashim bezu, oyayoyim bezu, amacha bezu. You got b'shukkah's teshuv means one sukkah. Vein oisin sukkah b'chol shel moed, and you can't make a sukkah on chol shel moed. If you sit in sukkah on Yantif or Rishon, that's it. That's your sukkah. No, sukkah. You could go from one sukkah to sukkah. Voice and sukkah b'chol shel moed. V'shavim they equal shemnafla shechazu b'ayim b'chol shel moed. If it falls down, then you can make the sukkah chol shel moed. But if you didn't initially sit in the sukkah, says Rabbi Eliezer, then what? Then not. So what's pshat over here? My time at Rabbi Eliezer, Amakra chaga sukkos tasel lecha shivas yamim. A chag on sukkos you should make for yourself 7 days. Asa sukkah harui l'shiva. Make a sukkah that's right for 7 days. So therefore, you can't go from sukkah to sukkah. Why? Because the sukkah's got to be right for 7 days. If you go from this sukkah to another sukkah, your sukkah wasn't for 7 days. Yeah, I mean, see, he's saying you have to be in that same sukkah 7 days. So Mamela, that's a pshat in the dialogue between the apotropis of Agrippus and Rebbe Eliezer. He says to him, I have one wife living over here. I guess Aruch Laner guys. I have one wife living over here. I got one wife living over here, right? So I'll go this one and this one because Shuvah came to Duru. That's the way I live with them during the year. A little bit over here, a little bit over there. Says Rebbe Eliezer, guess what? If you go to the second one, not only aren't you yaitza that, you're not yaitza the first one. Why? Because you got to be in the same sukkah 7 days. So by going to the second one, you're being mavatal the first one that you went first. That was the dialogue between them. He thought Rabbi Eliezer was Teshuvah and Keduru. And what's the answer? No, it's nothing to do with Teshuvah and Keduru. That you have to be in the sukkah because you have to be in the sukkah. That's the sukkah what for 7 days. They make the diak about this. Mashma, like Avrami says, Mashma, the sukkah has to be able to stand for 7 days. That would be ruach mitsuya. That we discussed the sukkah. So 7 over here means the same sukkah for 7 days. Guys, you had a dialogue based upon the there. It's very good. He thought one thing. He said didn't Teshuvah thing to do, and he says you lost it. You lost your first one. You know why you lost your first one? Because you're not in the same sukkah for 7 days. Again, we don't pass like that. Well, I don't know if wife have to sleep with you in the sukkah. There's the shaila Teshuvah and Kedura. The shaila about the tashmish in the sukkah. And that's it's not. A woman not part from the sukkah. Women are part from the sukkah. Teshuvah and Kedura, right? Also, sukkah b'chag. You can make a sukkah during the chag. You can make a sukkah during the chag. The shavin the equal shem nafla shechayzu b'nai so b'chal shemay b'didi abi yuvda. Okay, anyway. Okay, hope Steve is on this. Anyway, so says the Gemara Geshmak. Okay, so the Chachamim say that the sukkah you can make a sukkah chalamite. So I had the sukkah 16 by 16, and I had this shlak I put up this big heavy mill, 2 mil, and in the middle of the night there was this crash. The water came down. The water was so heavy, it just knocked it, broke the beam. It broke the 2 by 3, cracked it right in here. So I put it up.
When you put up chalamite, it has to be able to last 7 days. You know it's chalamite.
Why wouldn't it be able to last 7 days?
No,
I put up exactly.
No,
No, that's no. That's Rabbi Eliezer. We don't pass like that. You're mixing up two things. Rabbi Eliezer won't let you put it up. No, he'll let you put it up if you put it up. The pshita says no pshita. L'chayra you can put up shulchan. What's the chad? Shemadu tema hayachritahi. I would say it's a different sukkah. Ve'ena l'shiva. In other words, there's a svara to say that the sukkah has to be up for 7 days. If it went down in the middle of Chol Hamoed, it's not up for 7 days. Kamash Malon that you could rebuild it. Tanya Rabbi Eliezer Oimer, Kashem Shein Adam Yotzi Dechavasa B'Yom Tov Harishon Shel Chag B'Lulav Shel Chaveroi, Dichsiv El Kachtem Lachem B'Yom Harishon. We're going to get this parak Bez Hashem later this week. Pri Eitzad V'Kapis Tamarim. You should take for yourself on the first day. A Pri Eitzad V'Kapis Tamarim, and it says L'Kachtem Lachem Mishel Lachem. It has to be from yours. Kachin Adam Yotzi Dechavasa B'Sukkasa Shel Chaveroi. You're not Yotzi with the sukkah of your friend Dichsiv Chag HaSukkos Te'aseh L'Cha Shivas Yamim Taseh. L'cha shivas yamim mishalcha. The Chacham Moimrim afa pisha amru ein ad miyotzi yedei chavasai b'yom tov rishon b'lulav shel chaveroi aval yotzi yedei chavasai b'sukkasai shel chaveroi. You would be yotzi with your sukkah. You hear this? If your friend lends you the sukkah, you're yotzi. Dichsiv kol ezach b'Yisrael yesh b'sukkos. All natives in Yisrael should sit in the sukkahs. Malamish kol Yisrael ru'yim leishei b'sukkah achas. Right, and everyone's worried to sit in the same sukkah. Guys, let's see Rashi. Little up. Kol ezrach yeshi v'sukkos ksiv the mashma sukkah achas. V'sukkos, guys, is written chasa, guys. It's been chasa. Kol yesh v'sukkos. Chol Yisrael sheyeshu ba. It's a sukkah for all Kol Yisrael. Now, obviously, all the Kol Yisrael can't live in the sukkah, right? So it must be what zeh one after the other. V'yef shei kulam lekulam. It can't belong to all of them. It has to be what. In other words, we all right to sit in the same sukkah, but we can't own it because ownership would be less than a shava pruta of all the Kal Yisrael in the sukkah. Even if it's made of the most expensive things. Think about it. Millions of people. It's elamah. That's the only way it can be. We sit in the same sukkah. Obviously, we're lending it to somebody else. So you see that what you could be yotzi the chiv sukkah with the sukkah shel chaveri. You could be yotzi. You definitely yotzi. You're not stealing the sukkah. We have a rule also that it's a person is happy when a person others like you can lend a sefer, you can't take it out, but you could use it. That some say a person's happy that you're doing the mitzvah with his sefer. It's that person that you go use his sukkah. That would be an American value. You can imagine walk out in your sukkah and you see somebody sitting in your sukkah. Right, the American value would say trespassing. Like, I dare you, a chutzpah. And what's the Yiddish value? Baruch Hashem, I was able to go ahead and mazaki you with my sukkah. Which is right. It's an interesting way you look at things. And even as I'm telling you this to you, I'm getting angry at the guy. You know what I'm saying? You think about it, right? There's an American value system, and then there's a reality. Think about it. You see a guy doing a mitzvah with your chayfetz, gewaldig. Yet the other hand is boom, I can't. You get angry at the guy. Okay, anyway. Right. Now he's eating your food, that's a different thing, Oh, but I didn't think you would mind the steak off the barbecue.
He's not what you talking to. The guy comes and sits in your seat and he's finally down and you get upset that he's sitting in your seat.
Okay. Says the Gemara.
No, I've seen it.
Sounds like
I've seen it.
Come to my shul, no one talks. One guy.
It's too quick.
One guy talks.
There's no time to talk.
What?
There's no time to talk.
No, only one guy. Only one guy talks. And Rabbi, my darshi. What does the chum do with the lecha? Since they darshan that you could be yaitza. You boy lemute gezula, right? For my sukkah gezula, you would not want be yaitza. You're going to ask me mitzvah b'aveira. I'm going to answer you that it's the rabbanon. You'll finally get this for the third time in the Masechta. We're going to see it again. Okay. Al shula ksiv kol ezrach. By shula it says kol ezrach. Rabbi Eliezer, hi kol ezrach mayav. What does Rabbi Eliezer do with kol ezrach? Since it says you can't be yaitza. Mi boy legerish in his guy ben tayim. The cotton in his gadol ben tayim. Let's say it's first day of sukkahs, and the kid's a cotton. The second day of sukkahs is a gadol. So him, you'd be able to build a sukkah for. You'd be able to build a sukkah for him and a ger as well. Rabban and Kimashon ois the sukkahs b'chol shamoid. Since he says you can make a sukkah chol shamoid, let's get to the crowd. We don't need a pasuk to teach me this thing. Tanabana, I said Rabbi Eloi, shaholach lekabel pnei Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Belud. Now, Rabbi Eloi is going to makabel the face of Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Belud. The regel, it's erev yantif because he wouldn't travel on yantif. It's erev yantif, and he's coming to be makabel is pnei Rabbi Belud. Amaloi said Rabbi Eliezer Eloi, aincha my shavsei haregel. Are you not? You're not going to be shavas beregel. You're not going to be sitting in your house in the regel. I'll go ahead. I'll praise the lazy people. They don't leave the house in the regel. So even though this is the norm, that they're not doing it for the shem mitzvah, they're doing it because they're couch potatoes, house potatoes, whatever it's called. Dichsiv v'samachta ata uveisecha. V'samachta ata uveisecha. So in other words, you should be mesameach, you and your beisecha, meaning you're with your wife. You should be home. So Rabbi Eliezer gave him a zug for coming to Mekabel Rabbi. You should have stayed home with your wife. What are you doing here in the regal? Ini, is it really so? What do you mean you're supposed to stay home? Isn't there a mitzvah Mekabel the face of the Rebbe? Rabbi Eliezer is going to see his Rebbe, Rabbi Eliezer. What's Shnemar? Madua, it says by the Isa Shunamis. Madua ad hoileches elov hayoim. Now this is the conversation is taking place between the husband of the Isha Shunamis and Elisha had given a bracha to Isha Shunamis. She had a child. She had a child. Later, the child died. Isha Shunamis now is going to see Elisha, and the husband she didn't tell the husband what happened, and he wants to know. He's saying incredulously, "Ma'du atoy leches elav hayoim. Loy chodesh is not Rosh Chodesh. Loy Shabbos is not Shabbos. So what's the right to the regel? So I saw a pshat that Rosh Chodesh is less than the regel. So if you're Mekabel Pnei Rabbi, she's going to see her mentor Elisha on Rosh Chodesh. Certainly on the regel, there's an Indian of going. So Mechal de B'Chodesh Shabbos Mechayim Shilakui. I feel Apei Rabbi, the face of his Rebbe. So l'chayra, what was the Rebbe Loi saying? Or Rebbe Eliezer saying like Kasha, Hada Azla v'Yasi b'Yuma, Hada Azla v'Yasi b'Yuma. If you can come back and forth on the regel, it's within the tchum, then you do it. But if not, no, you stay with yes. The Haraya, the boy had died. Isha Shnamis came back and brought the boy back to life. The Elisha came and brought the boy back to life, and that was called the Navi Chabakuk, guys. That child that was brought back to life was the Navi Chabakuk. He grew up to be Chabakuk. Okay, Tanrabanan. Meister Rebbe Eliezer Sheshav. We have a bunch of Meister Rebbe Eliezer from the Mishnah. Right? Meister Rebbe Eliezer Sheshavas beGalil ha'Elyoin b'Sukkah shel Yochanan. Right. Well, you can go back and forth on the same day because you're walking. You're not driving on the regular, right? You're not driving on the regular.
We had that before, right?
Yeah, we don't pass like Rebbe Eliezer. You know, we don't pass like Rebbe Eliezer. He Rebbe Eliezer must have samachtat v'necha. So there's an Indian being Mekabel your Rebbe on the regel. That is brought down. That is brought down, but it's not brought down that you can't. You have to be sure to be house. That's Rebbe Eliezer. Rebbe Eliezer Shamuti. We don't pass like Rebbe Eliezer, right? Even though in Shemaim they do pass like Rebbe Eliezer. Famous Gemara at the end we're going to see at the end of Azov. Famous Gemara by the Maisa of the Tanner Achnoi, the Tanner that was like a snake. Yeah, that's probably the most famous Gemara in Shas. And you think so? If it's famous, why don't I know it? Okay. It's the Maisa what he said, the tower leans and Torah B'Shemayim and then Rabbi Yeshua. He has the Baskol. Baskol says the Allah is like Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Yeshua gets up and starts screaming, goes Torah B'Shemayim. He's arguing with the Rebbe Shalom. Rebbe Shalom laughs. I mean, there's a okay. We'll see tomorrow. Okay, turn on. You have to hang in till Babitzia. Turn on. Ma'aser Rebbe Eliezer Sheshavas beGalil ha'Elyoin b'Sukkah shel Yochanan Beribi in the Sukkah of Rebbe Loi. The case of a Bekisari. The Imri law, Bekisari. The Gia Chamlis Lisukkah, and Amalai, so Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Loi said to Rabbi Eliezer, Ma'u she'efa shel sadin. What's the din about putting a sadin on the sukkah to protect it from what? From the sun. Spreading a sukkah is protecting the sun. Amalai. So what did Rabbi Eliezer tell him? Ein lechol shevet v'shevet Yisrael shlehemin menu shayfet. There was no shevet in Yisrael did not have a shayfet. The kuf is a shayftin that took place between Yeshua and the kings and the Nevi'im. So obviously this doesn't answer the question, right? Higia Chama l'chatzi sukkah. The Chama came to hit the sukkah. Amaloi mash efresh aleh sadin. Can I go ahead and take a sadin and put it over it? Amaloi ein l'chol kol shevet v'shevet Yisrael shleyotzim menu Nevi'im. Right? There's no one that didn't have Nevi'im come from it. And Shevet Yehuda, Binyamin had Midah Malachim al pi Nevi'im. Shevet Yehuda had David, al yidei Shmuel. Binyamin had Shaul al yidei Shmuel. So again, obviously, he did not answer the question. Higiyas man l'margaloisav shel Rebbe Eliezer. It got to the feet of Rebbe Eliezer. Natal Yochanan Sadin and Parshla. He went. He spread the Sadin on the sukkah. And Hifshel Rebbe Eliezer Talisa Lachariv. He put his talis on his back. V'yatzin he left the sukkah. And later with the not necessarily because he disagreed with him, and that's why he didn't answer the question. We saw earlier that Samich Fov guys in Yuma that Rebbe Eliezer never said anything that he didn't hear from his Rebbe. And there's many memories in Shas that he does talk. It's after the Rebbe died. The Rebbe died, but he never said anything. So therefore, he didn't go ahead and say anything. How could Rabbi Eliezer leave? Amar Rabbi Eliezer, ein yotzim sukkah l'sukkah, right? You don't come from one sukkah to sukkah. And for the Gemara, regal achahav, he wasn't sukkahs. They were sitting in it wasn't sukkahs,
So these answers that he gave, these were wrong.
right?
These-
He didn't give any answers. These were, obviously you get so you're talking to somebody, he answers you something else, you get the message that he's not, okay. So there's a kasha here that's answered by this, but what was the havamina? Now, how could you spread a sadin in the sukkah? We had a Mishnah earlier, if you spread a sadin, right, it's going to passel. So but in the kasha was in the teretz in the havamina of the Gemara it was sukkahs, right? In the teretz you don't have the kasha anymore, it wasn't sukkahs, right? But in the kasha, so there was a tosfos that we probably missed among many. Daf Yud. If you take a look at Daf Yud, Yud Am and Aleph, guys. Yeah, Yud Am and Aleph, guys. Here's the sadin mifnei achama. Kosiv b'tshuvas hagoyinim. Hachtu tani pirs sadin mifnei achama. Oitachteha mifnei anesher. You spread it on top because of the sun, or underneath because of the leaves. Psula. That's heicha the chamsa merum mitzilsa. That's when there's more shade than sun than shade. Below sadin without the sadin. Aval yesh tzilsa merum mechamasa. If it's a kosher with sukkah, mordechai. If it's a kosher with sukkah and you spread a sadin over it, you put a shlak over it, it's still gonna be good. That's the Rebbeinu Tam. That's the Shittas Rebbeinu Tam that you spoke at yesterday, right? So in other words, if it's existing sukkah, you can't even move out the same sukkah. If the sadin is making the sukkah, right, then you got a problem because it's makabel tuma. If the sadin is not making the sukkah, then you put a right. There's a day that you sit even in the rain. You sit with a shlak on top. You yoitz it. Mordechai brought in yesterday the Shittas Rebbeinu Tam. So that would answer the question over here. So here you have a kosher with sukkah in the havamina spreading the sadin. Fred the Gemara, how can you leave for another sukkah? If it's sukkah, then the Gemara wasn't sukkah, and for it wasn't sukkah. Right? So how could he go be? He should have been in his hometown. What was his hometown? Lud, right? His hometown, guys, was Lud. So how could Rebbe Eliezer be? Guys, if you look above, the Gemara said that Rebbe Eliezer, Rebbe Eliezer, Rabbi Bil Lud. Rabbi Eloi went to visit his Rebbe Eliezer in Lud. Yeah. Yeah, in Lud. So kasha is, what's Rabbi Eliezer doing in the sukkah of Rabbi Yochanan in Caesarea, wherever that was? I lechoira and yotzim sukkah l'sukkah. If his hometown was Lud, what is he doing over there? So, and for the Gemara, shein yotzim teim b'regel Shabbos havoy. Right? It was not the regel. It was Shabbos, regular Shabbos. It was a regular Shabbos. Derech Agav, there's a good kasha over here. You want a kasha by the Seder. This is early on the Seder where the kids are still up and you're still up and not bored. Maisa, right? With who? Elazar, Akiva, Shalei Mesubim, where? Whose hometown was Bnei Brak? Akiva. What yontiv is it? Okay, who's sitting there? Rebbe Eliezer. Where's Rebbe Eliezer's hometown? Lud. What's he doing there? He said you can't leave. He can't leave. What's he doing? He's holds. You have to be home with your family. What's he doing there? I know. It's a kasha, and I didn't find the teretz. I saw the kasha. I think it's a good. It's good to throw out.
Maybe he took his family with him.
I don't know. No, it's mashma. They didn't travel like that.
He went to the Rabbi.
They didn't travel like that. It's a good kasha. Okay. Anyway, let's finish up. What was the whole shaila? Guys, spreading the sadin wasn't a sukkah dikadin. It was, I left this out. It was a Shabbos dikadin. Oil, right. It's a din. In other words, the fact spreading it was a din in oil. Again, it's not sukkah. It's a good sukkah. No question about it. He wouldn't, guys, Rabbi Yochanan wouldn't have spread, guys, look at me, please. Rabbi Yochanan wouldn't have spread a sadin on the Shiloh on the sukkah to mivatel the sukkah. So obviously it was a different kasha, right? No matter how hot it was so hot, mitzvah, get out of the sukkah. He wasn't obviously worrying about sukkah. He was worried about, it was Shabbos, or it was even the regel. How can I go ahead and be moisef in oil? You're being moisef on a binyan. And Rabbi Eliezer did not answer the kasha. He drained him a cup with what? With with history about the Klal Yisrael and Shoftim. Fred the Gemara, we had a Gemara in Shabbos that you might remember about adding on to Pak Mena Chaloin, a picture of, you had a wall, they had shutters, you took the shutter, you put the shutter in the wall, and you had to hang. The question was if it was hanging from a string or not hanging from the string. Okay, now bringing that back, let's see it inside. Tatnan, Pakak Hachaloin, Pakak Hachaloin. Pakak Hachaloin is what? Is the shutter. When it is tied, Vitoloi, and it's hanging, it's not on the ground, then poiking and boy. Then you could take that shutter and put it in the window, in the hole. The imlav ain't poiking and boy. But if you're missing those two things, A, it's not tied, or B, it's not it's tied but not on the ground, but on the ground, then ain't poiking and boy. It doesn't make a difference, poiking. So l'chayra, like Rebbe Eliezer, it's be meisif on the binyan. So that's the shaila. Just like you can't go ahead and put the shutter in, you should not be able to put the sadin over the sukkah. And for the Gemara, hasmud mevatel. Over there, the pekaki being mevatel, and therefore it's meisif on the binyan, because you may just leave it there. Aval hacha by a sukkah, loy mevatel loy, but sadin zicha is temporary, not mevatel. Therefore, it might be a shaila. So therefore, you can't be poished from something Rebbe Eliezer himself said. Rebbe Eliezer day, not from his Rebbe. So therefore, he should be able to answer it, but he didn't answer it because there's a distinction between pekak and what and the sadin. Pekak being permanent, more permanent, you can mevatel it as opposed to sadam is temporary.
Sure, thank you. Thank you.